Wacken Brewery Mjolnir Nordic Lager.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. Work is finished for the day and that means it's time for a beer. And I've got a bit of a special one here today. This is from the Wacken Brewery in Germany. And they have produced a series of beers with a Nordic theme. I'll get onto that in a minute. Wacken, of course, biggest heavy metal festival in Germany, possibly the world, and the people in the village of Wacken, which is right up North Germany in a place called Schleswig-Holstein, which is right on the border with Denmark. Some of the people there have got together and there is a brewery there that now makes beer, and this beer has got a Nordic theme going on, and it's a bit of a weird one because they've trademarked all these names. Now, Mjolnir is the, would you believe that's the cat? When cats get hungry, that's what they do. Mjolnir is the name of Thor's hammer, and that's what that is on the front. That is a depiction of a Thor's hammer, and that one is actually an archaeological find that looked like that, plenty of detail in it and everything, but they put that on there. They have trademarked that name, and they have trademarked loads of Nordic mythology or mythological names. How they've done that, I don't know, but they've got the trademark on I think it's Sleipnir, which is the horse, that the eight-legged horse that Odin used to ride in Norse mythology. Loki, of course, the mischief maker, if you've ever seen the film Thor. They've got the trademark on that. They've got Surtur, which was I think was a god of fire in Norse mythology, and they've trademarked that as well. Now I don't know how that's going to go down because that is the logo, if you like, of the Pagans MC, who are an American outlaw motorcycle club, 1% outlaw motorcycle club in America, who are not to be messed with. Very serious characters indeed. But they've done it. They've trademarked all these names, which I think is a bit, well, I don't know. How can you trademark Norse mythology? Well, anyway, I'm not even going to go into that. But yeah, they're based up in Schleswig-Holstein, and they've come up with this Nordic lager, and it is, according to the back, it's a Pilsner. Now, coming from Schleswig-Holstein, northern Germany, one of the most northern points in Germany, you'd think it's going to taste like a North German Pilsner. I think you're going to be wrong, and I'll explain why in a minute. Right, this is 5.3%. It's a 330ml bottle, and the IBUs on this are 40. Now that's a little bit high for a lager, in my opinion, but there's a reason for that. Now this is a German company. They're based in North Germany, as I say, in Schleswig-Holstein, but they're using American hops in their beer. Why the fuck are you doing that? They're using Summit and Cascade, which are normally found in American hop-forward IPAs, usually West Coasts and East Coasts, and some of the pale ales as well. They've used it in a lager. Why have they done that? I don't know. And they don't give any other information away. They don't say what yeast they're using. They don't say what hops they're using. Well, sorry, they don't say what malt they're using. And that seems a bit of a weird one. So, let's just get this open and let's see what's going on. Now I think, I could be wrong here, but I think they serve this up, or some of these beers up, at the actual Wacken festival, and you know, which is fair enough. So they would have to produce an absolute shit ton of it to satisfy the needs of the festival goers that go there, because believe me, it is massive. I've never been, and it was cancelled this year because of COVID, but apparently they have some fantastic bands on there. I mean, it caters for all styles of metal, which I think is really good. What are we getting on the nose? Very fruity, and there's some malt in there, but it smells quite citrusy, and it's not just the lemon citrus I'm getting either. There's a little touch of grapefruit on there too, which is probably coming from the Summit and the Cascade hops. Really odd choice for a lager. I mean, this is what the Germans do best. Why are they using American hops? And it does smell a little piney, and for a lager, that is a bit weird. Now they say it's unfiltered and unpasteurised, and there is a slight haze on this, but of course it's lager, so you know it's stored for a long time, so all the nasties will get eaten up by the yeast that's in the fermentation tanks. And it's bottom fermenting yeast that they'll be using, which means basically yeast that can, you know, really perform at lower temperatures. And when I say perform, I mean stuff themselves silly and produce alcohol and carbon dioxide. Okay, alarm bells are ringing, but let's try this and see what's going on. Zum Wohl, as they say in Germany. And it's not bad. That is a very, very agreeable lager. And the malt content on this is absolutely gorgeous. Very biscuity. It's like a sweet, rich tea biscuit. Now, I fucking hated rich tea when I was a kid. I call them the biscuits of poverty, because that was all we ever got. The reason was I didn't like them, my sisters didn't like them, and my mum and dad knew that if they got anything else digested, we would just scoff a lot of the night. But rich teas, they lasted ages. But that's what I'm getting from the malt on this. It's quite nice, quite sweet. Fair bit of spice on that. The IBUs, when I said they were 40, it's not as bitter as I would have imagined. You know, wheat beer is in the sort of 20s, and wheat beer is reasonably sweet. I would have said this is in the sort of mid 30s. I wouldn't have said it's as much as 40, but it is a very, very nice lager indeed. There isn't too much American hop character in there. This has got a lot more sweet malt in it, which has just dominated them flavours. There is a little touch of earthy and spicy notes on there, but there's more malt in there, which is really nice. Just in case you wanted to see the cap, there is the cap. Very nice indeed. And if you want to see the label, get the rest of it out. There is the label there. Nice Thor's hammer there. Now, I have to admit that I absolutely love Norse mythology. Man, this fucking autofocus, I tell you. There you go. That is really nice. Now, as I say, I love my Norse mythology. Most of my tattoos are all Nordic designs, runes, side of my head. Maybe you can say that or not. That's Nordic artwork. I've got another one now. Whether the autofocus is going to See that? Probably not. But yeah, all my tattoos are basically Nordic designs. I absolutely love Norse mythology, history from the Dark Ages and all that. And when I saw this, I decided to get quite a selection of their stuff. And I've got quite a few of theirs, so I'm going to be reviewing them as and when we go on. But I have to say, starting with the lager, this is really nice. Nice biscuit malt, some black pepper notes on the spicy front, a little bit of herbal, earthy type notes on there, and a little touch of citrus running all the way through. And then on the arse end, you've got the big biscuit malt finish, which is really nice. Not as dry as a normal North German Pilsner, but I have to say, that is a very respectable lager. So what's the verdict on Mjolnir? That is very good indeed. And it's the first one I've had from the Wacken Brewery. And I have to say, I'm quite impressed. Now, of course, lager is so common in Germany. In fact, before this lot came along, the Flensburger Brewery were brewing the beer. They originally started with a Bavarian brewer. Then something happened with the Bavarian brewers. I don't know what it was, but the Flensburger Brewery took over, and of course Flensburg is North Germany as well. They brewed the beer for the Wacken Festival for a while, and then this lot took over, and they class themselves as a craft brewer. And I have to say, a German craft brewer, you know, is a bit of a novelty, to be honest. But I'll tell you something, this is not a bad lager, as you would expect. Now, they do a complete range of beers. They do 2 different stouts, they do IPAs, they do a wheat beer, they do a doppelbock. So, you know, they're carrying on the German tradition, but they've also got the new IPAs in here as well, which I think I've got in the range. I bought a big selection box of theirs and a t-shirt and a few other things as well. But all in all, the Mjolnir, as they call it, Nordic lager, is not bad at all. I am going to give that, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10, because obviously it's not as good as some of the other German Pilsners out there, but I have to say this is a valiant effort and I quite like it. And it's different. It is slightly different. When I saw the Summit and the Cascade hops in here, alarm bells were ringing. I thought, oh, Christ almighty, they're going to try and Americanise this, which for a German brewer to do is fucking sacrilege. But they haven't. They've made them 2 hops work in this, I think. Now, of course, you'd be expecting one of the noble hops like Hallertau or Tettnang or even Sarts. But no, Summit and Cascade can work in lagers. And here is the proof. So I'm giving that an 8.5 out of 10. I'm definitely going to recommend it. I love the artwork. I love the beer. And I like everything about them. And of course, they're obviously metalheads. So what is not to like? So 8.5 out of 10, recommended. And remember, beer is working class champagne.